What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Bernard, the alien, Hopkins. Bernard Hopkins says that he is willing to come out of retirement to settle the score with Roy Jones Jr. Because, of course, you know, guys, Roy Jones was the guy that gave him his second loss. Bernard Hopkins lost his first professional fight. His second professional fight was with Roy Jones Jr. Roy Jones Jr. at the time, Olympian, you know, should have been gold. He got the silver. He was cheated badly in Korea. Korea is notorious for that type of corruption. Roy was the man. Fighter of the decade, beat Bernard Hopkins. Bernard Hopkins comes back 16 years later and beats Roy Jones. Now, that brings them 1-1. Bernard Hopkins said if he had a choice, he would come out of retirement to do that and that only. Okay? And what do I say about that? I'm not against it because both of those guys, they're in their 50s. Bernard's older than Roy. I don't know. I think Bernard's 55, I believe. And Roy is 51. So I don't think it would be that bad. But I think that fight would easily be overshadowed by the fight that's already happening, him and Mike Tyson, because Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. never fought. That's what I honestly think. I think it wouldn't really sell because, for one, when he beat Roy, he didn't really get the credit for beating the prime Roy. You know what I'm saying? Roy Jones Jr. was that guy that you couldn't beat in the 90s. Probably no one could. You know, from 160 on up to 175. Okay? The guy was just that good. But as far as him coming out of retirement to do that, again, I'm not against it, but it's not the fight, that ideal fight that people really want to see. You know, I just think that's like some kind of deep-rooted blood, because it did take those guys a long time to get that fight together. Because if you guys can go back in memory lane and remember how I used to watch all those fights, of course. And when Bernard upset Trinidad in 2001 in September, those negotiations were going down because, in fact, Trinidad was wanting to fight Roy then. They eventually fought years later. But since Trinidad got beat, Bernard he picked that torch up and went towards Roy. They couldn't come together. You know, Bernard wanted 50-50, and Roy was like, no, 60-40 because I beat you already. So, and then they had a physical altercation somewhere. I forget where they were at. So then that kind of dropped all negotiations, and then they ended up fighting years later when Roy was no longer the same Roy. So it's kind of bittersweet. So even if he did go in and fight Roy and beat Roy, it was like, okay, well, you've done this already, and then this is with an older Roy than you beat the last time. So the only saving grace and the only logical thing that I can come up with is that it would definitely break the tie, okay? Because they are tied 1-1, okay? But anyway, that's my counterpunch on that, guys. You guys tell me what you think of Bernard Hopkins willing to come out of retirement like everybody else. Of course, please subscribe, and you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.